All right, let's get it going. Greetings, my name is Luis. I'm the founder and CEO of YBHR Designers. With nearly 8 years in the AEC industry, it's architecture, engineering, and construction. I've worked on a variety of projects and teams, including luxury residential, restaurants, fire stations, hospitals, airports, and more. So I created the BIM Gym to help designers like you, or people who are interested in design, feel confident and competent with the BIM tools such as Revit, Synchro, etc. And without the confusion and overwhelm and all the wordiness that you get from some of these other places. So whether you're just getting started or you need to sharpen your Revit skills, you're in the right place. So the BIM Gym is a training program that we use at YBHR Designers. We use it really to increase the confidence and competency. And when I say competency, the ability to be effective using Revit, right? One of the things that I wanted to talk about, or what I wanted to talk about today in this video, is the top 3 common mistakes that new Revit users make, right? Revit can be a very complicated program if you let it be that. And one of the things that happens, especially when you're new, is that we approach with excitement and anxiety, right? Because it's such a big program and it can be very complicated. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about that is a common mistake that new Revit users make is information overload. Revit users, me speaking from experience, Revit users a lot of times will sign up to learn every single thing they can about Revit. And it's not that it's a bad idea, but it is extremely inefficient. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you signed up for a martial arts class, and in that martial arts class, I'm the instructor, and I show you every punch, every kick, every block, and I'm breaking bricks with my bare hand, and I'm summoning a chi in my finger, and poking a hole in the wall, and, doing forms from Shaolin, and, breaking pieces of steel with my hand, and all this other really interesting stuff. And I spent all day just showing you all this really cool stuff. By the end of it, you're going to go, wow, and you're going to be overwhelmed and excited about the potentiality of what you just learned. But the issue is that it didn't really help you. And it didn't help you because you can't duplicate it. You cannot actually replicate what I just did. As a white belt, what you need is not all of the fancy moves and the bells and whistles. What you actually need as a white belt is simple, basic fundamental steps, the things that you can build on and at some point get to that level and beyond, right? So I think one of the issues that I've noticed, very consistently, from my personal experience, but I would also make an educated guess with a lot of the other Revit users out here, is that we go for the course that's the biggest course we can find for the lowest price, right? So we want the 16-hour course, the 20-hour course, right? The course where we go through every single thing that you could ever do in BIM, and we take really diligent notes, and we redo the notes, and we highlight the notes, and we do all of the stuff, right? And at the end of it, at the end of the course, could you go into a job feeling confident about your BIM skills? No, you can't. And it's because, once again, you cannot apply what you learned. It's too much information, right? And so in regards to information overload, it's one of those things where the best course of action is not to try to learn the largest amount of information right away. It's about learning the things that are the most important, that are priority, right? The second issue, or I guess the second most common mistake for new Revit users, is going to be memorization versus application. Taking one of those courses or going online and just searching up different tutorials and videos, you can take notes and try to memorize all of it, but none of it is really going to help you unless you apply it. And not only apply it, but apply it consistently. And this is where we run into issues. So just because you did it one time does not mean that you actually understand it and have mastered it enough where you can apply it in a real world setting. Because you have to understand, once you get into an actual firm, an actual office, real professional projects, whether you're working for somebody or you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have situations that don't make sense, that are going to be outside of what you tried to memorize on the course, and it's going to throw a wrench in whatever you got going on. It is better for you to understand the fundamentals and have done them consistently. So do you need to press the wall button 1,000 times? Yes. Do you need to use the architecture ribbon 1,000 times? Yes. All the stuff that you're going to use consistently, you got to repeat over and over and over again to really understand and apply it. So when you're doing tutorials, it's not about memorization. It's not about being thrown a bunch of fun facts about Revit. It's really about applying this and doing it in a way where this is second nature to me. If I walk into an office, I know exactly what I can do, right? And you can approach the interview that way, if you're trying to apply for that new job, or talk to a candidate that way if you're an entrepreneur, right? Um, the third thing I would say that is a mistake, a common mistake for new Revit users is the language of BIM, right? Any field that you go into, if I was an athlete, right, and I went into football, I have to understand the language of football. I have to understand offense versus defense and pass rushing and the blitz and the different plays and the different exercises that are necessary to stay in physical shape, the different leagues, the teams, their ratings overall. All of this is a language. And if you are new to any type of field, the first thing that you have to tackle is the language itself, because the language is what's going to open up your mind to the concepts and really understanding what's going on, right? Because jumping into BIM, if I say BIM to somebody off the street, they're going to not know what I'm talking about. If I say, hey, do you use BIM? They're going to go, what's that, right? Because they don't have any access to that language. It's not really connecting anything, right? So one of the things that you want to be careful about when you're learning BIM or building information modeling is spending the time to understand the language, but also understand that what's more important than the language, as we talked about before, is the application, right? Revit has very specific language. If you ever try to take the one of the exams for certification in Revit, they want you to be very specific about the language of what this is, and it can be very tricky. And I do understand that it's very important. So I am saying that as you are growing in Revit, yes, you need to learn the Revit. You need to understand what the project browser is. Yes, you need to understand what the architecture ribbon is. You need to understand these things, especially if you're going to use them consistently. But do you need to understand the language of every single term in Revit right away? No. If you don't need to understand, if I was learning Spanish, if I was learning German or I don't know, some other language, Bantu or something, right? I can't memorize off the top of my head every single term in Bantu. I have to learn the basics and fundamentals, like, hi, my name is such and such. How are you doing? I feel this. Can I have that, right? The basics, the things that you're going to be using for the rest of your experience, wherever you are. And so the language of Revit can be very specific and very wordy sometimes. And as you get higher in levels of Revit, as you go from someone who's just a casual user to maybe a BIM specialist, a BIM coordinator, BIM manager, then of course you need to understand the language a bit better, because you have to be able to explain this to the different teams that you're using, the different stakeholders and things like that, from a place of competence and confidence, right? But to begin with, just get the basic language down, right? The core things you're going to use consistently, and you expand and you grow outward, right? So that being said, if you are new to BIM and want to feel confident using Revit without getting overwhelmed, check out my beginner's course on Udemy. I'll leave the link below. It is not expensive. It is a short course, so it doesn't take that long, but you will feel much more confident than that 16-hour course I'm telling you now. And it's based on my actual professional experience and the things that I've learned and gone through. And I think it's something that'll be a great tool in your arsenal. And you get a certification at the end of it, which you always can say, well, I took the BIM Gym course and hey, I'm ready to go, right? In addition to that, please like and subscribe my page. There's more videos coming soon, more content, and I'll check you guys out later. Peace.